Easter a lot. But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Easter the whole Lenten season. And if you'll be patient, I'll tell you the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But that wasn't the reason he loathed with such might. The Grinch hated Easter alone in his cave, 'cause his heart was as dead and as dark as the grave. So he stood there on Good Friday, and he pictured the scene of Easter in Whoville and all it would mean. They would rise with "He is risen" on each pair of Who lips, and they dressed for church services and after church trips.
They're rehearsing cantatas and pageants and prayers. They're ignoring their clothes and they're curling their hair.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming,
I must find some way to stop this Easter from coming.
For on Easter, he knew, all the Who boys and girls would have much more to think of than fashion and curls. They would think of their Savior, and all the girls and boys would open their Who mouths and make a joyful noise. And that's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. Then the Who's young and old would fold hands and bow heads, while prayers of thanksgiving and worship were said. Then they'd sing about Jesus, how he died, how he lives. Then some windbag would talk on the hope that he gives.
May every Who hear, every Who know, Christ is risen this day long ago. With the death that he gave and the life that he lived, it was hope that he brought to every dad, mom, and kid.
And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Easter bells ringing. They'd hold hands in a circle and they'd pass Easter greetings.
Go in his mercy. May God bless and keep you.
And the thought galled the Grinch from his hat to his shoelace, and a frown seemed to darken each part of his Grinch face.
Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Easter from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The Grinch said with a hoot, and he made a quick pair of bunny ears and a suit, and he chuckled and he clucked.
You're a mean one. Mr. Grinch! Is he really on you? You're as gutsy as cactus! It's really you! Mr. Grinch!
You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel.
You're a monster, Mr. Grinch! Oh, you have sinus in your brain. Your heart is full of garlic. Mr. Grinch!
I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole.
What a great Grinch trick. With these ears and this suit, I can steal Easter slick.
He dyed baskets pink and he filled them with grass. Then he set one aside for each Who lad and Who lass. Then he went to the Walmart, charged his card to the max, spending thousands on chocolates, not counting the tax. Then he bought fancy bonnets and gaudy bow ties, and he grinned as he pictured Who giggles and sighs.
This will keep them from praying, singing those songs. This will please and distract them for all the day long.
Then he loaded the goodies in baskets and clothes, the bonnets and dresses and ties that make bows, and he packed his Suburban till it threatened to pop. And he grinned as he mumbled,
This Easter must stop.
Jesus filled every Who head. The Grinch left for each as they finished their nap a sweet basket of candy, a distraction, a trap. He smiled his Grinch smile as he tiptoed away, and he pictured the mess he would cause the next day. He pictured the Who's rising and finding their stash and forgetting about Jesus in less than a flash. They would fight over chocolates, over bonnets and toys. They'd forget about praying and making glad noise. We can't get them dressed, would shout Who dads and moms. They're covered in chocolate from their nose to their thumbs, from their heart to their heads. They're absorbed with themselves. We'll have to put Easter and such on the shelves. The Grinch hardly slept as he waited till dawn. He could not stop imagining what was to come.
Pooh-pooh to the Who's. They're finding out now that no Easter is coming. They're just waking up. I know just how they'll be. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or three. Then the Who's will, Easter's all around me. And they'll forget the carpenter of old Galilee.
The Grinch cocked his head, put his hand to his ear.
That it's a noise I simply must hear.
And he did hear a noise rising over the meadow. It started in low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't selfish or angry or sad. It just couldn't be so, but the sound sounded glad. He stared down at Whoville, and the Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who boy and girl had their chocolates and bonnets, but every Who face had a peaceful smile on it. They had their bow ties and their chocolate treat basket, but the Grinch had a question, and he simply must ask it.
Why aren't they distracted and so rude? Why with their dresses and food? Could it be that they'll sing whether chocolate or not? Could it be a Easter one jot?
What happened then? Well, down in Whoville, they say, the Spirit got a hold of a Grinch heart that day. The heart that was empty and gloomy and cold became warm and alive, filled with promise untold. And Jesus, who had been to the Grinch just a bother, became Savior and Master, Redeemer and Brother. Easter is more than just trappings, all Whoville agreed. It's a Savior who lives to meet every man's needs. They made their Who circle in the Who church that day, and after their singing, they started to pray.
Go in His mercy. May God bless you and keep you. He is risen. He is
Risen indeed.
It's been passed down as fact, or so the Who say, that the singing was louder by threefold that day. And the circle seemed full, more warm and more sweet. 2 green, hairy Grinch hands had made it complete. Give them all one big hand as you're having a seat real quick. They did fantastic, didn't they?